Welcome back, everyone, and I'm here again with SBR contributor Jordan Sharp, and today we're going to be looking at how those odds have been acting up for the game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Carolina Panthers. How you doing today, Jordan?
I'm doing great, Dax. Thanks for having me back.
It's a pleasure, my man. All right, so the 3-3 Seahawks aren't even the shadow of the team that they were last season. Right now, they're ranking 15th in offense and 8th overall in defense. And they got rid of the only player that actually helped them stretch the field. And last week, Coach Cowher was actually talking about this move, and he congratulated Pete Carroll for having the balls to get rid of Harvin, as he was considered to be a cancer in that locker room. But honestly, I think that things could have actually worked out. You know, I mean, he was already known to be a diva, and the NFL is pretty much full of it. And to get rid of one of your best players when your team isn't producing at the level that is expected of a Super Bowl champion is just kind of unheard of. Anyways, BOL has the opening line on favoring Seattle with a -3 spread. Now, since then, that line has gone all the way up to -4.5 at BetOnline and -5 at almost every other book. Now, as for Carolina, they already made that same mistake that the Seahawks made by letting go Steve Smith Sr. to the Ravens, and look at what he's been doing so far. Now, that cost them dearly as they are struggling offensively, ranking 13th overall. And don't even get me started with that defense. I mean, they're 27th overall. Anyways, this would have been a hell of a game about a year ago. Right now, I'm thinking that -5 is the magic number for this game before kickoff. But what do you think, man?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think -5 is exactly where it's going to stay at. It did touch, I think, a little bit higher for a very short amount of time. Now it's been kind of jumping back to 5, 4.5 at BetOnline and sports betting right now. So yeah, I think 5 is where we'll see it kind of settle in between that number. I had a buddy of mine who texted me today and said that he really likes Carolina +5, and I just don't see it right now. I think that, the Seattle Seahawks probably the better way to go in this game. They have obviously not performed the way that a lot of people expected them to this year coming off of that Super Bowl win. Trading Percy Harvin, obviously a little bit questionable, but not like killing them because they weren't really using him that much anyways. So, this team, is predicated on running and playing defense. And until they get that pass defense solved, they're not going to be a Super Bowl contender because that was, one of the areas where they were very strong at last year. And I mean, they've been, very average in their secondary so far this season. The numbers right now, they're giving up, about 240 passing yards per game, which ranks them right in the middle of the pack. So until they get that solved, they're not going to really be a Super Bowl contender this year. I think they can, solve those issues. It's probably just, a strategy thing more than personnel, because even though they did lose Browner, I mean, they still have, their secondary in place from last year. So I think they're probably the play here in this game. Carolina, I just don't get. I don't know what they're going through right now. They're a very distracted team. I would suspect that after last year, even though I think it was understood that their 12 wins were a little bit fluky, but they probably were still at least a 10-win team. And this year to kind of fall back down to earth and are trying to struggle to stay around 500. I mean, Ron Rivera might be coaching for his job right now the rest of the season, because this is a team that has a lot of question marks. They've been hit with injury, but still, they say don't use that as an excuse in the NFL. So I'm not going to here. So Carolina, I would expect it would not surprise me to see them get blown out in this game. I would not be shocked at all to see, the Seahawks win by, 14 to 20 points in this game.
Well, I mean, I might be on that wagon as you are if they would have kept Harvin in the lineup, But the thing is that it kind of is a little off, When Harvin was playing with Minnesota is a run team, and they did all that with him on the lineup. And look at what Adrian Peterson did all last season, I'm thinking that if they would have kept him there, they could have actually used Marshawn a little bit more and just used Percy Harvin as a distraction. That's the way that I think that should have gone, because he is a distraction. Everybody's always double covering him. So use that to actually give Marshawn a little bit more space so that he can run down the seam. But the fact that they let him go, it's going to show everybody that they're going to want to run the ball a little bit more. And to me, that's a mistake, because you don't have anybody else to throw the ball to now. I'm sorry, except Baldwin, of course.
Well, I mean, look at it this way. If I don't think that Percy Harvin's 200 and some odd yards that, he had through 6 or 7 weeks or whatever, they're going to miss it too much, considering they're just going to run the ball even more. But look, I can guarantee you that the Seahawks are wishing they would have kept Golden Tate and traded Percy Harvin in the offseason right now. You can guarantee that.
No, I agree with you on that 100%, my man. But still, I mean, the fact that they got rid of 2 of their best wide receivers right now is leaving them with 1 dude on the wide receiver schedule and, on the wide receiver roster and Marshawn Lynch. And you don't want to throw everything on Skittles right now because, honestly, I mean, he's a great running back, but once his back starts to fucking hurt with him, he ain't going to be the same player, you know, and he's not going to have the same results as he's been having right now. You know, that Percy Harvard trade, to me, is a little iffy. I think that they might have jumped the gun a little bit too early on that one. But, hey, you know, you never know. Again, with the line, I mean, I think that it's going to settle at 5. And if you think that Seattle can cover that, big balls, my man, big balls. But I'm not sure, man. I think that what?
I said I smell a gentleman's bet. Are you taking points with Carolina? Because I will gladly lay the points with Seattle here.
I'll take Carolina plus the 5, my man. I mean, if the line goes to 5, I'll take Carolina plus the 5.
We will talk about it next week then.
That sounds like a plan, man. All right, Jordan, as always, it's a pleasure talking football with you, and I look forward to doing it again tomorrow, man.
All right, thanks, Dax.
No problem. For SBR Picks, this is Dax Floyd.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.